Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. January 1st. We are just getting Belle and Bree back out to the pasture. They actually pushed on that little gate right there and got up near the house. Probably because there's some grass. They're chowing down on hay, but once they see this grass up here, they probably wanted to push through. And last night, so they had a nice night of doing a little yard mowing for me. But for any of you guys that have had bottle calves, they don't always move like the cattle. They don't go where you want to. When you kind of walk up to them to shoe them somewhere, they do this. They want to be pet. They want to be touched. So, come on, girl, go in there. So anyhow, hope you guys. She's just. Usually I have a harder time with Belle. Maybe if I walk in here. Oh, she's getting kind of spunky. You know, bottle calves are fun, but when they get to this age and size, you know, she starts jumping around and kicking. It can actually be a little detrimental. Sorry, girl. Come on, move in there. All right, so we got her back in. So anyhow, I hope you guys all had a great New Year's Eve. Happy New Year 2024. As I get older, it's amazing how quickly the years crank by. But January 1st here, we got a nice week this week. Kind of an overcast day, typical Kansas day, what I would say. 5 years ago when we moved from Colorado to Kansas, I really struggled with the gloom, I guess. Although it's not too gloomy anymore. I don't see it as gloomy, but in Colorado you get so many days of sunshine. But the herd is out there, the South Pole herd. We're out rolling some hay for them. But wanted to wish you all a happy new year and talk a little bit about some of the goals we have for this year, some of the projects we have coming up, because it's going to be a busy year just like last year was. So this past year was a year of growth for us. We started the ranch in 2022. You know, thinking back on that year, there was a lot of work and a lot of learning and a lot of effort that went into the ranch. And like when you start anything, you put a lot of effort in, and sometimes you don't see as many results, or you don't see a lot of external growth, you know, to somebody else looking in, but it's learning and getting things rocking and rolling. This year, 2023, or this past year, after establishing and getting started with a few sheep and a few cattle, we really kind of pushed and started to grow the herd. And now starting in 2024, we are getting ready to have a pretty good size calf crop this year. We'll have a good size lamb crop. We're going to have some animals to sell. So it's just been it's interesting. It's like any business when you start. Most businesses don't start, or most ventures don't start with making tons of money from day one and they're an instant success. Ranching, especially being a first generation rancher, is no different than that. There's a lot of work and probably a 2 to 3 year runway until you even hit the ground running. So let me show you what's going on over here. I don't know if you've seen the foreground. We've got all these little birds that are still following the cattle herd. I love seeing birds. You see some of them flying right there. Love seeing the birds in the spring and summertime with the flies. We got these little guys here. But we just continue to rotate the cattle around. And, you know, we actually have, see these ragweed patches. This is where we bale grazed last year. So I know there's lots of people online that rave about bale grazing. In my experience, not a fan. I know last year what I did is I set out bales because we had a couple of days of inclement weather. Because I didn't want to have to unroll the hay in the bad weather. Didn't enjoy the results here. So here we are a year later and we still have bare spots. This is even trying to cover it up. So probably need to get some seed out here this year and try to get some more grass and minimize the ragweed that's growing up here. So over here at the Carter James, there's so many things that when we first got involved, there's a police car going by. There's so many things that we wanted to do with this property, and we started going down that road, and as the ranching operation grew, we just kind of had to table and slow down some of the other plans. As far as community involvement, events, opening this up to the public, and here we are coming up on a year and a half later, and we're just kind of starting to revisit some of those things. So one thing that's going to come up this year is we're actually expanding the ranching operation I've talked about it in past videos where we've taken on more animals than we had the land for, more sheep, more cattle. And the reason we did that is we knew we were going to be having some land open up that we're going to have an opportunity to use this coming year. And we're going to be calling that project the Redemption Project. It's a piece of ground that's been leased out for a lot of years, been overgrazed, set stock grazing, meaning people would just turn their animals out there in the spring and wouldn't rotate them. So it's been grazed down, ponds have been damaged. So I'll shoot some footage out there later this week, but that's gonna be an exciting project for us as we expand the ranching operation. And then one reason we didn't want to open this up to the public as much, I was concerned about the number of animals we had here. Just if people come and they're not familiar with cattle, they might think they want to go out and see them, and you just never know what could happen there, and just didn't want to have anything bad happen to anybody. So so be watching along for the Redemption Project, and I'm pretty excited about it. Little overwhelmed, but just been praying a lot over the last year, asking God if we can if he can provide some things. And I pushed on a number of doors that didn't open up that I thought would open up, and sometimes that's what happens in life. And as a Christian, you know, I just try to consult God. Especially as I get older, I realize he's ultimately in control of everything that happens. And it's not anything that I'm doing, but I do need to push on doors, and the Lord opens them up. So we're going to continue to move forward on the Redemption Project, and I'm excited to share it with you as we grow the herd and grow the ranching operation for the glory of God, and try to use this property and our whole operation to glorify Him. I know this time of year tends to be filled with New Year's resolutions. I've never been a big New Year's resolution person, although New Year's there's no better time than the present to start if you want to start changing some behaviors or whatnot. But this property here at the Carter James, we are unrolling a lot of hay. Mentioned in a previous video, I got a little nervous, thinking we had to start feeding hay pretty early, and as we scaled up our animals, bought a lot more hay, and I think I overbought, but that's okay. We're going to continue to unroll hay. This is just a pasture where, the front pasture where we continue to unroll it. They've cleaned this up over here pretty well. I'm gonna have to come out here with the rake. Some of the stuff is a little thicker than I like, so we'll have to spread this out. I mentioned we're feeding oat hay. They don't clean up the oat hay as well as they clean up the brome hay, just because they search out for the oats. But one quote unquote New Year's resolution for me in 2024 and into 2025 is going to be to not feed as much hay as we're going to have to do this this winter. It's just when you got to buy a lot of hay, even if you produce your own hay, which we don't, it's just it's expensive. So, but this year we kind of took it on the chin as a way to grow, and that's what we're doing. Another personal goal that I have, the more I've gotten into ranching and paying attention to our food system and even analyzing a lot of my own habits, I realize I want to continue to move away from being so plugged in to the American system, and mainly the food system. You know, so much of what is offered at the grocery store is really not healthy for you. There's lots of processed food. Even the healthy food, I have concerns about even how our vegetables are produced, what they're sprayed with. So I am going to really make an effort this year to cut back on eating processed stuff and just taking better care of my body, especially as I get older. Now that I'm into ranching, I'm way more active than I used to be on a daily basis, and I'm realizing I need to take better care of my body. So that's something I'm going to be pushing for. And just, you know, if I'm going to be in ranching, trying to produce healthy food, trying to sell it to my local community, it only makes sense that I take care of myself. I don't, it makes sense, doesn't make any sense to not take very good care of myself and be overweight. It's kind of like if I was going to go hire a trainer to help me get in shape, I probably wouldn't hire somebody who wasn't in shape themselves and didn't have good habits. So they obviously couldn't help me with that. So those are just some personal goals that I'd like to accomplish this year. The other day I did a short over at the home place just about losing topsoil. And we've got the sheep over at the home place, and the sheep can eat the grass down a lot closer to the ground than the cattle can. And the fact that we have so many sheep over there, 65 compared to 3, and we've got more cattle than what that land can sustain, partially because we don't graze the back part of the property, mainly because it's not fully fenced in, although I may graze it once just with hot wire since the cattle are trained to that. But over here at the Carter James, the grass is really quite resilient. Obviously we don't have sheep here, and the sheep could really take whatever we have left here. They could really take it down. But just really interested in over the years, as we continue to learn, rotating the animals, unrolling hay. There's a big learning curve to this, and sometimes you need to see the weather patterns and what happens from year to year to really get a good handle on it. But the last 18 months has really been educational. A lot really good, and some stuff that isn't good. But you just got to keep learning from it, and away you go. So I'd love to hear if you guys if you're into ranching, what are some of your New Year's resolutions or things that you're going to try to accomplish this year. One thing I did want to talk about is really kind of blown away. Appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel, follows along, makes comments on it. It is just encouraging, helps me keep going. I had a great opportunity the other day. There's a gentleman who just found us on YouTube. I was new into ranching. He's raising South Poles as well. He's out of Tennessee, and he reached out. He just had some questions on finishing, and so I had a great conversation with him. Just told him what my experience was. We actually, I shared some of the same fears that he had, being new into it, finishing off animals, not sure how it was going to go. But I just encouraged him, told him what some of my fears had been and how everything turned out. And so I think that's what I really do enjoy about this, is just and meeting other people. If you haven't checked out Pure South Pastures, my friend Mark Bateman runs that down in Arkansas. Mark and I text and call back and forth and just have a lot of good interaction. So that's one thing that I've enjoyed on this YouTube journey, is just being able to connect with other people that are interested in doing what we're doing, and you meet some really great people on the way. So anyhow, it's been a great 2023. Off to 2024. Here we go. Kind of a little brisk morning, but just really appreciate everyone following along. As we continue to grow, and this year will be fun. One big announcement is also this year my wife Jamie is going to be getting a lot more involved in our ranching operation and helping run the Carter James and figuring out what we're going to be doing there. So I'm excited for you guys to possibly meet her. She's not really a camera person. She likes to move behind the scenes, but I've asked her to consider getting more involved in some of the footage. She doesn't have to do it all, but I think she'd really add a lot. She helps me out a lot, for sure. I realize that I've gotten older. You're only as good as the people that are around you, and if you don't have good people, you don't have a good support system, and people that allow you to push. And I know I stress her out sometimes with how hard I want to push and move forward, but one thing I am appreciative of is she does allow me to do that. She could really hinder me if she gave me a hard time with it, but praise the Lord that she allows me to do that. So anyhow, look forward to 2024. We're sharing our journey with you guys. Thanks all for following. Hope you have a great day. God bless, and we'll see you next time.